Can I begin?
Yeah.
So, good afternoon, ma'am. We are here from Kendriya Vidyalaya Ganeshkin, and we are going to ask you some questions that in this profession of education, which was considered to be the noblest profession, nowadays nobody wants to become a teacher. So there are a few guidelines we would like you to give us. So there are a few questions. So I hope you like it, and I hope the way we present it and we get a conclusion to this interview. So ma'am, firstly I want to ask you that could you tell us that what are the reasons for poor qualities of education in India?
Yeah, you already mentioned that passionate, committed teachers are in lack in our country. Teachers are not motivated enough, and the lack of motivation is not only about remuneration, it is also about the way they are perceived in the society. I suppose if one were to really bring about radical change in the whole system, it is to make teaching profession more rich in terms of respectability and making every teacher feel very important. And I suppose you should all make it happen, like students. You should make each and every teacher feel important. Your teacher of pre-primary has contributed to your growth getting into the primary, and the teacher of primary section has enabled you to reach the senior secondary. So you should never forget her contribution in your lives. She's possibly stayed back on the same level so as to grow more and more children. And possibly it is one of the professions which is, I wouldn't say thankless, but it is a profession which is very, very selfless, and a profession which does not expect anything. A mother, when she takes care of her child, back of her mind, possibly somewhere it is there, parents I'm talking about, would possibly think that sometime when I grow old, my son, my daughter will take care of me. But a teacher, she grooms so many children. She is passionately after few because she is so worried that they wouldn't do well in their exams. She has sleepless nights about her subject not being handled, performed well by her students. But end of the day, when the child does so well, she doesn't expect even a gratitude from her children. In fact, she would feel very embarrassed if a child were to come back and say, "Thank you, ma'am, because of you I did well." She wouldn't expect that, because that's not part of her grooming. Possibly it is that is precisely why it was called, and it continues to be, the noblest profession.
Ma'am, do you somewhere feel that in this past life, this profession is a bit staying back? I mean, like you said that we won't expect anything, but when it comes to living a hard life, according to like salary wise, a teacher doesn't get much. So that somewhere affects the goodwill of people to come in this profession.
In fact, it shouldn't. According to me, yes, to a great extent government also has supported. The 6th pay commission which is recently implemented, it is reasonably good. This is for your information, so that you are tempted to take up this profession. It is reasonably good. It at least puts you at par with some of the leading professions. However, that should not be the only benchmark of a good profession. It is the sense of fulfillment. You also check on the stress level experienced by employees in the IT industry, in the BPOs, and compare it with the teachers. You will find that the stress among the teachers is definitely less. Okay, because they, the whole working environment is so charged. They get to interact with the young generation. It's so nice to be with students. So these things actually do not matter in the long run. Okay, so I suppose this is what has to be shared and respected and understood by the generation. It is not to be always measured in terms of money.
Ma'am, so while we were doing this study, we just observed something about books. That when books are interesting, suddenly people want to see the book. But nowadays, when we see books, generally textbooks, school textbooks especially, children don't want to take it up, and then there's no passion. And it somehow affects the learning, teaching process. So, what could be done to improve books, which will attract a student's attention, and he would want to learn?
See, books are just one tool of education. It's not the absolute tool. You're getting my point? It's one of the many tools to education. And thanks to the CC that has been introduced, just give me 5 minutes. Lot of project activities have also been taken up in the school. Okay, so textbooks have just become one tool out of 10 tools that are used in the curriculum. So, and textbooks need to be fine, attractive, whatever you say could be done, but that's not going to make a major difference. Okay, and because a lot of work has already gone into developing those textbooks. NCERT has done so much of a research. Okay, when they bring forth any textbook. So I don't think we should be belittling the quality of textbooks, and if the textbooks have to be made available across the country at the cost that they are made available today, I don't think they will be able to go far in developing it and making it very attractive and beautiful. Okay, it's not about beauty, it's about the content, and we need to respect a book for its content, not for its beauty. So that also is a value that has to be inculcated among the children. That simplicity also has to be respected.
Ma'am, so when a teacher, when you see a teacher, if you were a child, what would you expect of a teacher? That how she should be, how she should motivate you?
I feel a student should know and trust the teacher to believe that I am accepted the way I am. I am not bright, but my teacher loves me for being dull. It's okay if I am dull. Okay, it's okay if I am dim-witted, but my teacher still loves me and cares for me. And that's precisely why she is working a little more hard as compared to the efforts that she puts in for others. Not that I develop a hatred for the teacher because she's constantly behind my back. Yes, for that I suppose a lot of orientation at the home front also is required. Like parent also need to emphasize the fact that if the teacher is possibly little more firm with some students as compared to others, she is so because of her affection, her concern, and it should not be mistrusted for her any vested interests.
Ma'am, we see generally nowadays parents are working, so they are busy. So sometimes if a child is hurt or maybe a teacher says something to the child, they become a little, there's a grudge created, and then there becomes a gap between the parents and the teacher, which can harm the child in future. So ma'am, for this, how should a student be groomed? That how should he be told?
See, I suppose who can be best counselors to working mothers than the teachers like us? We are also working mothers. Okay, and we know what goes into bringing up a child and what goes into our stepping out of our house. So I suppose we can prove to be a very good bridge. So I feel what is more required than anything is the trust factor. If the parents trusted the teachers and the school, I wouldn't think that there would be any child who is unhappy at any point of time. It's the trust. And when it comes to our interaction with parents, I keep telling parents that it is not that we are perfect. Teachers can go wrong. We can make mistakes. But do not discuss our mistakes, our flaws in presence of our students. Because if you were to do that, then somewhere you are sowing a seed of distrust and our credibility before the child's eyes is lost. So never discuss us demeaningly in presence of our child. And also, knowledge always flows. And we all know that flow will always happen from higher level to lower level. If you reduce the esteem of a teacher in presence of a child, then the teacher's esteem is lowered, then the flow of knowledge stops for the child. And who is going to be the worst affected? The child. The teacher is not affected because she continues to deliver her goods. The parent is not affected because he is not at the receiving end. It is only the child. So I have told parents that in case they have any misgivings, any doubts, or even if they have hordes of complaints about the teachers, they should come discuss it with the principal, with the teachers in the absence of the child. And tell us point blank that we are wrong, we are ready to accept, but never discuss us in presence of the child. Because that is where the child will stop respecting us and it will not help the child.
There are certain technologies coming up, like the visual learning. When these things come up, certainly the teachers are affected, because when students grasp everything from the visuals, the teachers are somewhere left behind in the competition with technology. So ma'am, how can this gap be bridged?
These visuals are an aid to learning. It is an aid to teaching, just like what I talked about the tool. Okay, suppose if one were to think about, there was a time, how many, 500, 400 years back, when the paper was first used, textbooks were printed, the print technology came by, people worried whether the teacher will lose her significance. The teacher did not lose her significance. Books remain a tool, but teacher's presence is required to teach the tool. So same way, just like a printing technology gave you textbooks, in the same way, this electronic media is now giving you another aid to learning, another teaching. But the teacher's role can never be insignificant.
Ma'am, so what do you think the small things that can be done to motivate the youth to take up this profession? And just not the salary, but inculcating the values that this is a good profession, you should try.
In fact, it begins from you. The way that you have taken up this project itself is very interesting. You should now, make your teachers feel happy. Automatically the teachers are going to be feeling happy, rejuvenated all over again, and they are going to be passing on their... See, it's not all about glamour. It's not about glamour. It's about how happy or vibrant your teacher looks. That should make you feel motivated to join the profession. According to me, a teacher can never grow old, because she is amidst the youth. So she can't afford to say, oh, I'm old and I can't travel and I can't move, I can't talk, I can't do. She's so much embroiled and she's used to coming to the level of students so often that she can't afford to even say that any physical inability is making her incompetent. Okay.